ever feel like, you know that feeling when your brain's like a web browser, just a million tabs open all at once?
Oh, tell me about it.
That's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
That thing we all think we're good at.
Right.
Spoiler alert, we might not be.
The research says otherwise. And you know what's funny is we actually found some stuff about how a lot of us struggle with even just single tasking.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, even focusing on just one thing can be a challenge these days.
Exactly. So we found this article, and it's all about why our brains seem wired to get distracted so easily. What's the deal with that?
Our brains just crave novelty, you know? Every notification, every random thought, it's like a detour sign for our attention.
Oh, shiny.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this whole multitasking superhero thing a total myth, right?
Completely. There was this one study, and I think it really highlights that every time we switch tasks, even for a second, our brains pay a price.
There's a cost to it.
Big time, yeah. It's called context switching, and get this, it can actually tank your productivity by up to 40%.
40%?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's wild.
No wonder I'm like fried after a day of emails and projects. And let's be real, scrolling through social media, it's all a blur.
It's like trying to sprint a marathon, but you're constantly changing directions, you know? Your brain never gets a real break.
So, knowing all of this, how do we actually work with our brains instead of fighting against them? Because let's be honest, becoming a hermit isn't exactly an option.
Right, gotta love the modern world. Well, it's interesting you should mention that because one of the things that we've talked about is time blocking, right?
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
So, time blocking. You're basically setting aside chunks of time for specific tasks. And it's like you're creating these mental guardrails. That way, instead of always reacting to every notification or every little thing that pops up, you're the one deciding what's going to get your attention.
It's like we're taking back control of our own brains. I love that.
And the best part is it actually works with how our brains naturally focus, right? Like one thing at a time.
So for everyone listening who's ready to ditch the multitasking madness, time blocking is definitely the way to go, right? Even if you just start with like 30 minutes for one task, that's still a win.
Oh, absolutely. You got to start somewhere.
Okay, so to wrap things up, I think the biggest takeaway here is that it's not about cramming more in. It's about being intentional with less. So what's the one thing you're going to truly focus on today? Think about that. Keep those brains curious, and we'll catch you next time.